Yo guys, welcome back to another video at TraderJourney. Today we've got another update video along with some extra plays for you guys to follow and some extra trading plans. It's been an interesting day. There's been some announcements on the news. There's been some interesting developments with the AMZN trade, which I've been helping you guys follow over the past couple of days. So I've got an update in that regard, and I've got some updated plays and trading plans which I'm hoping to play. Just before I get into this video, if anyone's getting value from these videos and supporting the movement, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Definitely hit a like on the video if you wouldn't mind, and also be sure to check out my Instagram page, which is TraderJourney _official, where I post daily updates of my plays. So you'll be able to get some more value there as well. Be sure to hit me up in the DMs if you guys want any particular help. I'll be more than happy to give you guys my assistance there. So without any further delay, let's get straight into this video. So as you can see, I've got the AMZN chart up here again, and it was a very interesting day to say the least. I didn't really play the first 10-15 minutes of the day. I tend to wait to see the next 20-30 minutes and to see what the market is doing. The first 5-10 minutes tends to be where the highest volume is in the market, but it's one of the hardest sort of times of the day to predict the price movements of stocks. There's obviously so much volume in there and so many buyers and sellers. It's a very highly volatile time to be trading in the market. So after the first 10 minutes, we did obviously see with AMZN there was a spike in the price. There was increased buyers at the time, and as you can see from my sort of technical analysis, you can see the whole green box here was a demand zone. The reason being is that we broke through that the previous day. So for me, this is now an area of demand where demand and the buyers in this particular area control the price level. Sellers haven't pushed the price below this area since it broke above. So for me, buyers are still controlling this whole area here. So what's interesting, guys, to mention is when you consider that this move, which I first saw on a 4-hour chart. Now the bigger the chart time frame, the bigger the move. A lot of you might already know that, but this is a 4-hour chart. So when you're considering a 4-hour chart, that's at least that's 2 bars per day. So when you're looking at it on this time frame and for the move you're expecting to happen, you have to ensure that the contract in which you're buying has enough time. It needs that intrinsic value for it to ensure that the play works out. Because if you were, for example, buying expiration this Friday, you're going to get stopped out. It's as simple as that, because when the stock reversed back into demand zone, you're going to get stopped out. And if you've not set an appropriate stop loss, or if your account's too small and your account size cannot handle a loss bigger than this drop here and this pullback, then you just simply haven't got enough time on the contract to play the move. So you do need to get a contract which has at least 3 weeks. If you go back to my first video on AMZN, that's exactly what I mentioned. Now granted, the contracts for 3 weeks out are obviously very expensive and not many people can afford it, so you wouldn't be able to make this play for 2-3 weeks. You may only be able to just follow the trade through the smaller price movements, so between these price levels. So it's there's so many ways you can play a stock on a bigger time frame. You can play the smaller price movements between certain levels. So for instance, if the Amazon goes over 3277 and my next price level, immediate resistance level, is 3313, you can play or scalp rather that particular zone. You don't have to follow the whole trade through, even though I've been telling you guys this is going to get either to new highs or previous all-time highs. That you would need obviously 3 weeks out. But if you're just looking to play the move upwards, some of the price movements in between that all-time high movement, then yes, you can do that and buy same week expiration. There's no problem with doing that. But a lot of you guys that have been subscribed and followed me on social media, you guys are beginner traders. So stocks like Amazon, for instance, it does need a large account. You need to have a lot of capital to be able to assess the risk on Amazon and be able to set a reasonable stop loss so you don't get stopped out the trade. Now, if anyone, I don't believe anyone has, no one's messaged me saying that they've took the trade, because I didn't get in the trade myself. So if anyone took this trade and then got stopped out here, your account size is simply not enough, because for me, if I had entered here, my stop loss would be just below the demand zone, so I would not have had the chance of getting stopped out here because my stop loss was appropriate for the move and for the stock. So what you'll notice is, guys, when I talk about these trade plans, my stop loss is always the bottom of the demand zone or the highest of the supply zone. If I'm playing it short, if I'm buying puts, my stop loss will be the top of the supply zone, and if I'm buying calls and going long on a particular stock, then my stop loss will simply be the very bottom of the demand zone. So as you can see from the play of today, it didn't come anywhere near the bottom of the demand zone, so the play was still intact. However, I didn't enter this trade for two other reasons. One of the reasons I didn't enter this trade is I missed the initial market open, and I don't trade the market open. So as soon as the market opened, the Amazon price did fly. It did get to the next price level, which you can see here, of 3263.30 or 3263 exactly. And as soon as it hit that price level, I was watching it very closely, and what actually happened is sellers stepped in, and a lot of people got caught out there, and a lot of new beginner traders got caught out there, and they may have entered the trade as it hit that price level and the stock reversed. So you have to really be sure to understand the stock and what is exactly happening. So as I was analyzing the trade and working out when my next entry point would be, I'll come on to why I decided this, but I later on decided that my entry point will be at the break of 3263. It is the safest way to enter the trade for me at this point, because of the fact that it reversed straight at that price level, which shows me that there's a lot of selling pressure at that price. So I'm going to wait, sit tight, and ensure that I only play this high probability trade once the setup is there and I can enter the trade. But if I've missed the opportunity, I simply just don't chase it and leave it as it is. Now, coming on to why I didn't enter the trade as it exited the demand zone. If you look across, now we are looking at this on a 4-hour chart. It does help when you're looking closely at when to enter a trade. It does help going down into a shorter time frame, so you can understand exactly what's happening, who has control. Is it the bulls or is it the bears? But as I looked across to the historical prices, something stuck out to me here. And when we previously hit these sort of price levels, we did see when it was last ever at this price level, we saw a massive sell-off, which means for me there is some selling pressure that will still exist in that particular area and particular price level. And if you go even further back, there was another sell-off, the similar price. There was a actual gap up before, which shows that. So it's a very gray area, this sort of price level here. So it's something that I feel I'm still very bullish on the stock as at this point, as it's left this asymmetrical triangle on a 4-hour time frame. I'm still very bullish, but for it to reach the all-time highs again, you are going to see some pullbacks. It's not going to be a clear move to the upside. There is going to be smart money trying to play with people's emotions and the retail traders, so you will see these pullbacks, and this just allows for more liquidity to allow for these bigger moves. And if you understand what's happening here, for me, I feel like there is a bit of influence there from smart money trying to influence the stock and trying to open up some liquidity in the demand zone. So it's going to be a very interesting play, guys. I'm not in the trade as of now. I'm still sitting on my hands. And I'm making sure I preserve my capital. So for any new beginners out there, understand the concept of preserving your capital. And for new beginners, you wouldn't be looking at a stock such as Amazon anyway. You need to be looking at smaller stocks where your risk profile is less and you're not putting so much money up front, so you can understand the ropes and get a feel for how options trading will work. Now, To add to that, guys, like I said, there is some selling pressure coming in here, but it doesn't surprise me because out of the move from the triangle, there was a huge move up and a lot of people made 100% returns just from that move alone. So it doesn't surprise me that we'll see some sort of pullback. But what's even more interesting, guys, if you go back, I love looking at the historical prices because it does tell you exactly what might be happening. It does give you a feel of what's happening at these price levels. Now, if you go back to some of these previous price levels around this sort of area, when we've had breakouts, when we had a breakout of a previous triangle, we went straight into an area which is now an area of demand. But look at the pullback. It went through and it came straight back down, guys, and a lot of people would have got stopped out there, and that just allows for more imbalance in the market and allows for the bigger moves. And what was more interesting for me is because this is on a 4-hour time frame, and like I said, it's better to go down to smaller time frames to understand what's happening at those price levels. So what I simply did is I went from the 4-hour chart and I went down to this 1-hour chart. Now, what does the 1-hour chart show you and who is in control in that price level? If you go across, you'll get a real understanding for what is actually happening. So we're currently in this price level. So here's a perfect example. So when they tried to break this particular area, this price zone, what did we see here on the 26th of October? We saw a break and it came straight through, came straight back down, and sellers took control of the price and it went back down. But you only had to wait, an extra week or two for the price to return. So buying time on your contracts will allow you, will almost save you from these smaller pullbacks in the stock. But this just goes to show what's happening in each price level. So it just tend to show you that there will be some pullbacks in this area, and as long as you bought a contract 2 or 3 weeks out, if you are in this trade, you will be fine because you will expect these small pullbacks to happen for it to make the larger move. It won't simply go straight up. Some of the other, I was looking at even here, I mean, it's just this whole area. There's a lot of times it's hit this price level and it's done. There's been a lot of sort of imbalance there between buyers and sellers, and they've just simply been, bulls and bears have been fighting this particular area for some time. Now, I think once bulls entirely take over this play, and maybe the smart money is influencing this particular pullback, but once this resumes in play and comes out of this particular area of demand, it's clearly at the edge of demand. So I'm expecting this double bottom. This looks like it's going to end up being a double bottom. It should result in the price surging out of demand, but we'll have to wait and see, because as I said, this particular area is quite an area where we see a lot of fights between the bulls and the bears. So we'll have to wait and see what actually happens over the next day or so. But I simply won't be entering this trade until we either surpass with strong volume 3262, or we pass strong volume after 3276. Unless I see that strong volume, guys, I'm simply not going to enter the trade. I like to trade with a conservative approach with high probability trades, and right now it just makes me slightly concerned that sellers have taken over here. But I'll be re-entering once we get good volume and confirmation of the exit of a resistance level of 3262. So that just sums up what my take is currently on AMZN. It's I'm still very bullish, as I said, but we'll have to wait for extra confirmation before entering this trade. Myself, I'm tempted to play a quick scalp here between this price level. The risk to reward seems really good. So from anywhere between 3313 and 3276 seems like a very good area of demand. You can see there has been gap ups in the past, which shows this huge demand here. Look at this gap up here. This gap up on the 9th of October was huge. So I know right there buyers are likely to be in control and should push the price further. So we just need to simply wait for volume. And now when you're trading stocks such as AMZN, guys, you know, they do control majority of SPY, because SPY is made up mostly the tech companies have the largest ownership there on the SPY ETF. So I mean, because of that, these stocks are very they influence a lot. They influence the market. They influence these stocks are huge. The market cap of these stocks is huge, so they take over the market. Whatever happens to AMZN, they can easily influence what's happening across SPY as a price. So it's very key to understand what's happening in the overall market and what's being announced by the Fed, because obviously COVID-19 is the main topic of conversation. Now, I have told a lot of my people who have followed me across social media that the news doesn't make up the biggest catalyst for me, because everybody has access to the news. Now, when everyone has access to the news, they're all going to expect the stock price to do something. They're all going to be aligned with the same understanding of what the stock price is going to do. But I don't like that thinking, because I like to think outside the box. If everyone is bullish on the stock, doesn't necessarily mean the stock is going to fly, because there's a lot of other factors controlling the market, such as institutions, smart money, and banks. So you need to be aware of that before making any of these plays. And so what I'm saying with that is, guys, is that you have to see what the overall sentiment is with the market. Pay attention to the news, but don't use that as simply whether you're going to be bullish or bearish, because you shouldn't have that bias in the market, because markets can do whatever they want. So you need to just be conscious of that, guys, because these markets can, especially AMZN, fluctuates quite a lot. So now with the Fed printing more money, we should see we should still see that the market is bullish, but that doesn't necessarily give you the go ahead to just go calls on everything, because you need to understand there's so many other factors at play. So that's all. That's I hope I haven't been rambling on there, guys. I just want to make sure I'm making these videos as informative as possible for your own value. But just before I end the video, I do want to give you guys an update on what's been happening with some other plays I'm considering. One of the biggest plays I'm considering at the moment is Adobe. It does seem to be breaking out this downward trend. It almost appears like a bull flag, guys, but it does seem to be a huge downward trend on the 1 hour chart. So you guys can chart this yourselves if you see this on the 1 hour chart. But now we're reaching, so on the top trend line, guys, you can see the price has hit it 1, 2, 3, 4 times now. Now, when it hits either 3 or 4 times, for me, that just it's soon gonna be a breakout of that downward trend. 3 or 4 touches on a downward trend line, for me, it seems like it's pending a breakout. Now you can see on the bottom trend line, it hit the price 1, 2, 3, 4 times. On the top, it's hit it 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm expecting this Adobe stock to break to the upside. You can see it's almost broke the trend line there, guys, and it's come back in. So I'm just being patient here. If I see on the bigger time frame, on the 4 hour chart, if I see a clear breakout on the second candle, it seems to have just creeped back into the downward trend line. If I see a second candle here on the above the trend line, that's basically my confirmation to go long on the stock, and I'll be buying calls. But if I see a rejection here and it comes back down to the bottom trend line, I'll be looking to play puts. I mean, you could, if you see a strong rejection at this top trend line, you could play puts down to the bottom trend line, just as what was done on the 12th of October. It touched the top trend line and it rejected, and it came all the way back down to the bottom trend line. So you could play that. It's happened twice. It's likely to happen a third time, but I'm waiting to see if it breaks out of this trend line, and I'll be playing it long. If it doesn't and it rejects hard, I'll be playing it short all the way down to the bottom trend line. Now you can see it does need some time generally to play out. So when it previously happened, it rejection on the 13th of October, hit the bottom trend line on the 3rd of November. So you do need a 2-3 week expiration at least, so you have enough time, intrinsic value on the contract for that play to actually work itself out. So that's one play I wanted to mention. Now there is some other interesting stuff. I know a lot of you are beginners, so you're interested in knowing what's happening with these smaller stocks. With Apple in particular, it's doing something interesting, but I'm not really interested in it at the moment. I mean, it's gone into an area of supply which I have charted here on the graph, but it's not really doing anything. It's just hanging by supply. So For me, nothing really interesting at this moment. I will try and do some further technical analysis on this stock in the next day, just to see if there's any potential plays for the future. But I mean, Apple's already been on a fairly good run since it broke out of demand on the 24th of November. So it's made a good run so far, but this area is key as to what's going to happen next to Apple, because we've seen a major sell-off from these previous highs. So I'll be staying put on Apple, not playing any trades for the moment, but I'll keep you guys posted if any plays come to mind. So the last stock I wanted to just quickly review for you guys was AMD. So I know you guys really enjoyed that move, which I reported on. This was my first trade plan, which I gave you guys on the channel. Right now, AMD's not really doing much. It seems to be trading in this range here. All-time highs there of 97, 98. I don't doubt that AMD is going to get to $100 by the end of the year, but we need to wait for the setup to happen, and I'm going to wait for it to break all-time highs. That's probably the easiest and cleanest play you could make right now. So in this trading zone, I wouldn't really play anything. It's too choppy, nothing's happening, there's no clear direction, so I'll stay out of that trade. If it breaks below here, you know we're going to be playing it down to the downside, but for now it's clearly buyers are in control, so we're going to wait for it to break all-time highs is what my advice would be, and then we could probably see this get to $100 by the end of the year. I'm really bullish on AMD. It's probably one of the most popular chip companies in the world. They supply a majority of the chips for computers, PlayStations, all those sort of things. So the stock is future proof from my perspective. So I'm very bullish on the stock as of now, and nothing's really changing it. They seem to be the leaders comparing themselves to their competitors, so they're doing well in the market. So I definitely expect this stock to do well over the next year to 2 years and the prolonged future, guys. So that's really what I wanted to update you. I know you guys want to see more of these smaller cap stocks just to trade them because the contracts are cheaper, so I'll try and feature these more on the channel rather than the Teslas, the Amazons and the Googles. But I hope you guys are enjoying these updates. I am trying to do it on a daily basis. I'm getting several DMs, but I'm trying to help every single one of you guys become successful traders. If anyone's got any sort of suggestions for new videos, let me know in the comment section below. Feel free to drop me a DM if you want any advice, and I'm glad I can help you guys out. So just before I leave, make sure you hit that subscribe button, join the community, and I shall catch you all on the next video. Take care, guys. Goodbye.